Three different devices. Okay, we good. Here we go. Okay, we good. It's your girl, Andrea M. Thompson. I am live on YouTube. I'm live on IG, and I am live on Facebook. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I have some interesting things to share with you guys regarding the birth of a brand, the birthing experience for your business. Yes, you are birthing something. You are laboring with expectation, okay, for this business, for this brand. And so let me go ahead and get started. I'm not used to having multiple devices at the same time because I haven't gone live this way in a long time, and I'm building up my YouTube channel. And so I want you guys to follow me on there as well. I will have Danielle come in a little bit later and drop the link. So let's go ahead and jump right into the content. I'll go ahead and introduce myself really quickly. My name is Andrea M. Thompson. I broadcast and scope about all things relative to money, mindset, and motivation with the overarching theme of entrepreneurship. I'm a brand strategist and a content creator. I help small and mid-sized businesses to stand out in a powerful way in the marketplace. Thank you so much for joining me, and Sequoia. Good morning. Good morning to you. And so what are you laboring for? And what are your expectations? What are you expecting? And so let's go ahead and jump into it. I just got three quick things, and we only going to be about 10 to 12 minutes, and we're going to go ahead on with our day, okay? So as I reflected on Labor Day this past weekend, and I thought about the birthing process because my son is about to have a birthday next week. He'll be 10. And it's a very different birthday for us, a very different birthday for us. We've been on lockdown. There's been many school challenges amidst other challenges, amidst the international crisis. And so as with everyone, school looks very different for us. And so as I was thinking about his upcoming birthday and the space that I was in 10 years ago when I gave birth to my son, and I thought about the laboring process and how, that was my first child. So I had no blueprint as to what I could expect from the labor and delivery process, what I can expect with the pregnancy process. I remember asking for my umbilical cord at the hospital as I was preparing to go into labor. And they told me, oh, no, it's a process to get your umbilical cord. You have to, apply for it and go through a process to be approved to get your umbilical cord, which I found to be amazing. But it let me know that there's preparation necessary, right? More than I even knew. So when there is no blueprint and you're embarking on something that is new, different, and challenging, there will be obstacles. There will be opportunities to learn and to grow, but there'll also be obstacles, okay? And what I also learned about labor and delivery that I wanted to touch on is that I recall that before I had good insurance from my corporate job, I couldn't go to the best hospital that I wanted to go to because they were not accepting any other people who had public aid insurance. And so I said, oh no, I'm going to get this together. And so I went back to the corporate job and I got my good insurance, and then I went to the good hospital to have my son. And I realized in that moment that a lot of times I would hear that money is not everything. And I don't believe that money is everything, because some things money just won't buy you that are very important to your life. But if I can go into a hospital, one of the best hospitals, and not be serviced because of the fact that one of the first questions that they're going to ask me is pertaining to my method of payment, then that means that money can determine the quality of health care that you get. And so when I learned that lesson, I said, people been saying that money ain't everything and money don't grow on trees. I got to plant my seeds somewhere different where the money will possibly grow and I could be prosperous. Because if I go to the hospital and the first question they're asking is for my insurance, that tells me that money is a very important factor. Okay. And so what I also realized is that I had a lot of people in my room, right? I had about 7 people in my labor and delivery room. At one point, my father came in and they had me in the stirrups. I said, put some on me now, put some over me. And she said, well, the baby about to come out. I said, well, my father in here, put some over me. You know, don't have me up here laid out like this. And it was about 7 people, and that was my first birthing experience, my first child. So I wanted as many people to be there, and I thought everybody needed to be there. I was kind of scared a little bit, and I don't regret that experience. But what I will say, as it applies to the birthing experience of business, and before let me back up. Before we go there, let me back up. I wasn't able to see it from a full perspective, being the one who was in labor, who was in the birthing process. I wasn't able to fully see it until I saw my younger sister have my nephew. And then I said, whoa, look what the body goes through. Look how it happens when the baby comes out. Oh my God. Seeing my little sister from a baby to becoming a woman, to becoming a mother, to seeing my nephew come out of her body. It's one thing for me to have the experience myself and feel it, but then it's one thing for me to objectively stand on the side of the bed and see it happening, okay? And so I want to compare this to the birthing of a business, the birthing of a brand, okay? And this is why, because one of the things that I've considered in this process and in this journey that I've been on and that I've been blessed to be on with my clients and my colleagues, it matters who you have in the room in the birthing process. They call it nesting in the weeks before you're getting ready to deliver. They call it nesting. Hey, Monique Spence, thank you so much for coming in the broadcast. Good morning to you. Rise and shine to you. I'm going to use your saying. Rise and shine to you. Thank you for coming in. And so, there's a lot of people that you can have in certain positions during this birthing process. And they call it nesting, when in the final weeks before the birth, you're preparing your home. You're preparing everything around you to make sure that it's fit for the baby, right? And there's a nesting process for business as well. Good morning, Red Level. Thank you so much for coming in the broadcast, bro. I appreciate you. And so when you're nesting in preparation for business, you have to think about who are the people who may be a little fearful of your big goals and your big dreams because they live with limitations. And that doesn't mean that those people don't love you and want you to succeed. It simply means that they will impose fear on you, the same fear that has kept them stagnant. They will impose that fear on you. And because you care about them and what they think, you may internalize that fear and start to feel some doubt as well, right? So you may have to not necessarily disconnect, but you may have to distance the connection because they may plant that seed of doubt. And when you're in the nesting process in preparation for your business and your brand to be birthed, you want to have some confirmation around you, some validation, support around you, right? And so remember that you're nesting and preparation for the birth of your business and your brand. You're nesting just like a mother would in preparation for a baby. So I remember when I had my son in my stomach, I still had that little fupa going on right here. And people would ask me if I was expecting. And I would say, oh, I'm just expecting a business blessing, because I wasn't pregnant again. And they thought I was because my stomach was a little big still. It took me a while to lose that little weight right there. It's still a little bit there. But I would tell them like, no, I'm not expecting a baby. I'm not pregnant, but I am pregnant with purpose. But I am expecting a business blessing. But I am expecting wealth and prosperity. So I ask you, what are you expecting? What are you expecting? At the beginning idea phases too. Yes, protect that thing at the beginning. Because let me tell you something. A seed is put down in the ground into darkness, away from the world, beneath the surface, protected and covered before it gets its strength to push up through the soil and to grow into something more. So while it's at the seed in the fermenting process, and when it's at the state where it needs its most nourishment, it is in the ground underneath the surface, protected, so that when it gets its strength to grow up and rise over the soil, it can cultivate something great that the people didn't even expect. They thought it was a dead seed, and it was a sunflower seed, you know, with purpose. And so I'm pregnant with purpose, and I'm expecting a business blessing. So what are you expecting? Okay. And what are you laboring for? And the reason that I've been giving this a lot of thought is because when I reach my third year of entrepreneurship, and even more so in my second year of entrepreneurship, I remember I kept that resume on deck. And I really, had a lot of frequent periods where I kind of thought maybe the people was right when they said I should go back and get a real job. And I would send out that resume periodically just to see if I catch anything up, And I caught a part-time job one time, didn't last really long, but I just went in there and went right back on out and went back to my business. But sometimes we keep something on standby. Sometimes we keep something as our security blanket just in case, as a plan B. But when you jump into something fully passionate because you trust that the seed that you've been planted, as far as the thought that you can do this, that you can excel in this, that you will grow this thing, that you will labor for this thing, or you willing to labor for this thing. Because, some people get quick fast and they just jump on some and it blow up, and next thing you know, they rich. Sometimes it happen like that. But most times that's not sustainable. And the majority of the time, that's not the case. You're going to have to labor and put in work for this thing. So at some point, I got mad at myself and I said, you know what? I'm just going to delete all these resumes. I'm not going to have no resume because ain't no going back to working for someone else. No resume on deck. You don't have no resume to send out. Your resume is building up your portfolio and getting these contracts, getting these clients for your legacy, right? So I deleted the resume. And so what I want to say as I begin to conclude this broadcast, I want to ask you a very serious question for you to reflect on about what are you laboring for? And the reason why that's important to me, because I reflected on Labor Day and I thought about the challenges that I'm experiencing as I get ready to prepare for the next level. How right before COVID, it seemed like a whirlwind of things started happening in my business life and my personal life. And then we went from COVID to the looting, and then I had to deal with and grapple with what we saw on television about George Floyd and many others that we continuously see, and the emotional toll that takes on us. And I had to really consider, is this all for nothing? Is this all for nothing? Because if I don't have a blueprint and it's my first time really laboring for something like this and expecting a delivery of something valuable to me and my legacy, if it's my first time really getting into something like this and I don't have a formula, I don't have a blueprint, but I'm creating one, then, is this all for nothing? Because at the end of a pregnancy, you get a baby. But what am I going to get at the end of all of this that I'm laboring for, staying up late at night on this computer, waking up at 4 in the morning on this computer, can't stop thinking about how to tweak things, get it better, is this all for nothing? Because what am I going to get? Because it ain't all about the money. What am I going to get at the end of this? What am I laboring for? That's why I always ask my prospective clients, what is your philanthropic give back? What is your emotional attachment? What are you connected to? Causes that you care about? Because it cannot be just money. Because then when you start to get money, the motivation will wear off. And then what will you have to propel you? So my answer to my own question was that I'm laboring for generational curses to be broken. I'm laboring for the legacy to be built. I'm laboring for my son and my niece and my nephew. I'm laboring so I could pay my insurance with all these kids as beneficiaries with ease. Because right now, sometimes I'll be looking like, this insurance, but it's Insurance Awareness Month. And be aware that you need some term and some whole. And I will be doing a segment with my insurance client soon. And so, nevertheless, you guys, I want to encourage you to reflect on the question of what are you laboring for? And what are you expecting as the deliverable? What is the anticipated result? Red Level say, what's a resume? He like, is that resume? Is that resume? Because we don't know what the resume is. I kept that resume for a while on deck, polished, ready to go back. And then I said, no, I'm not going to make it that easy. Let me delete this, delete, no more resume. And so as I prepare to birth my book, as I prepare to use my stories of overcoming adversity to encourage you to activate, not just in your personal life, but to activate in your business life. Now, I can't help you activate in your love life. Okay, that's not my lane. That's not my calling. We have to call into the AC Green show for that part because he like to talk about dating and relationships. But as far as your personal life, overcoming obstacles and adversities, as far as activating in your business, that's what I got you on with God is the ultimate plug. Yeah, I could go ahead and say it. Not just the acronym, not just GITUP, get up, but I can go ahead and say the whole name. God is the ultimate plug. The audacity of overcoming. Coming soon. I'm so excited. But this is not that broadcast. I'm going to do that broadcast later when I tell y'all how excited I am that this book is finally coming. Because I've labored for this book more than 9 months, even more than a year. I labored for this book, went to the trademark attorney for this book, went to the marketing strategist for this book, went to the editor, went to the publisher, went to the consultants, went to the experts, labored for this book. I'm going to just say this in my closing. One of my mentors in my head, one of the legends that I followed on Periscope when I first started in business and when I was researching e-commerce and trying to get acclimated to this new age marketing, I followed her and looked at her content, and she passed away recently. And because her legacy was so strong, her staff is still selling her products. Because her work was not in vain, she's still planting seeds. She's still giving back. Even in her death, she's still able to give back. She's still able to nourish businesses. She's still able to make money. Now, that's a legacy. I met a man, that sidebar, just let me tell you this. I met a brother who had been in jail for 19 years. And he's fighting for his name because he was wrongly convicted. He has a business and he ain't been out of jail for a year yet. He got a band on his ankle, but he has a business right now and said he will not work a job because he knows how difficult it will be for him to work a job after having been incarcerated and fighting for his name. Now he is laboring for his name. He's laboring for his reputation, and he labored for his freedom. Now, if somebody under those circumstances can still be persistent and diligent in the laboring process, I don't know what excuses you have. And if I share with you some of the things that I've been through, went through, overcame through, you probably would find less excuses for you not to. And that's why I decided to write the book, not just to tell all my business, but to tell you how faith with works can make a powerful combination. And to tell you the lessons that I learned from all the stuff that I went through. It ain't just to tell you what I went through and just tell you my business. It's to tell you the blessing of going through and overcoming. And so thank you guys for tuning in. I certainly appreciate you. What are you laboring for? What are you expecting as the delivery? I want you to consider this as you press forward towards the mark of birthing your brand, of birthing your business to the next level greatness that it's called to. Thank you for my IG people who popped in. I know I don't really do the IG thing that much, but I'm getting used to it and I'm coming over here too. Okay. And thank you for my people on YouTube that tuned in as well. Danielle is going to drop the link to my YouTube channel, to bit.ly/2Andrea on YouTube in all caps. I want you to follow me on YouTube because I'm in a challenge for the next 30 days to boost my viewership up on YouTube. And so IG Andrea is the plug. YouTube, Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate each of you. Have an amazing, prosperous, and positive day. I'll see you on the live stream soon, and I will be opening up more content about my experience homeschooling as well as my experience with remote learning. I've been using remote learning for a while, even before the closing of the schools. And so I want to share my experience and my tips and tools and resources with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And those of you all who are catching on the replay, I appreciate you too. Have an amazing day. Take care. As I say at the end of most of my broadcasts, not all of my broadcasts, but most of my broadcasts, mind your business and drink plenty of water. Have a good day. All right, YouTube. Y'all the last ones out. See y'all later.